You think I would have learned by now. Welcome to Tattoo Tabletop. My name is James, and as you can see, my lighting is really crappy, and it's because I'm filming this at nighttime, and this is what I have in my kitchen. It's time for another kitchen list GT. Well, another kitchen GT list. Let's go with that. Another kitchen GT list. I am bringing the Fyreslayers again. I know what I said about them before, and obviously at my last GT go of it, I went 0-5, but I think I learned my lesson. Not actually. I definitely didn't learn my lesson. But what we're going to try is something severely different. So I've still been racking my brain about the Fyreslayers. Even though I've been playing some of the games, I played with my Adnet Deepkin, that felt all right. I played with Ironjaws, that may have been the worst game of AOS I've ever played in the last 4 years, and I was severely tilted. So Ironjaws fixes still not nearly enough. But what we did find out is what we're thinking about for this next GT. This one's going to be a Dragonfall GT, AOS GT in Geneva, Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. So here's the list. I am bringing what you see in front of you is what you get, but we're first and foremost, the battle formation we are running is the Magmadroth one. I'm just going with the Scales of Volcatrix to just give these two an extra 2 health, because here's the thing. This list is not meant to be played aggressively, or at least somewhat aggressively. It's meant to be played more defensively. What we have here is a series of heroes that are going to give me more defensive buffs more than anything else, and that's how we're going to play it. So, starting with the top, we're going to start with the General's Regiment. The General's Regiment is, in fact, the Auric Runefather on foot. Since I have 2 Runefathers and a Runefather on foot, we decided to make this one a general because we want this one to not be worth the priority target. So that's why we've given that War Master specifically the general. His bodyguard that he's going to come with is going to be the Hearth Guard with the Magma Pikes. Now, why? Because realistically, my idea for this list is it's supposed to be shooty, which is the complete opposite of what you expect from Fyreslayers when you hear the term Fyreslayers. Is no, they, combat, big axe, swing, 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 etc., screaming. But I'm making this list shooty intentionally. Basically, it's going to be the Runefather and the Hearthguard, and they're going to be sitting there, and basically what that's going to do is that he's going to make them his specific bodyguard, not just in terms of the seasonal rules, but also in terms of his War Scroll ability, which gives him a 4-up ward as long as they're wholly within 6 of him, and he gives +1 to hit, which is going to take their hitting on 4s to moving up to hitting on 3s, which is going to really help their output since they're 3, and at that point they'll be 3s, -1, D3 damage, and that's going to be 21 shots coming out of that group. So that's going to be very, very beneficial for them. And that's the other reason why we donating 2 Runefathers, is because not only are they going to be a beat stick of sorts, but they're also going to be shooty because they have 4 shots that they can specifically do, and it's going to follow the same profile as the Magmadroth or as the Hearthguard, but it's going to be, again, in this case, it's going to be, I believe it's 3s, -1 D3, and again, anti-infantry for these 2 specifically, so it's usually going to be Rend 2, which should help us out tremendously. It doesn't just end there. Specifically, this little Magmadroth guy right over here, this Runefather, he is going to have the Droth Helm, so giving +1 to hit for the attacks characteristics of the companion weapons of any other Magmadroth wholly within 12 of him, and that's why these 2 are going to run in a pack together, so that he's going to constantly be giving them buffs and moving them and making them infinitely more efficient. So here's hoping that it really helps put that damage output up and over where it's supposed to be, and then we can really get some damage output there, even just on the melee portion. So those guys are going to be running together. Well, what's going to be defending all this? It's going to be a giant 20 block of Volkite Berserkers with sling shields. They are going to be my defensive barrier. Granted, it's not much of a defensive barrier at a 5-up save, but at 5-up save, 2 wounds apiece, we got 40 wounds to chew through with a 6-up ward, and, at least for a turn when we activate a rune, it'll be a 5-up ward. Really hoping that we can kind of keep that as a defensive buffer so that the Runefather and the Hearthguard can just chill behind them, and then once they survive the one hit that comes into them, we pour all the shots into that thing that's in front of them, and hopefully we start taking them down, that being the idea. Also in the list, we of course have the Rune Master. He's required. I'm sorry, he is required at 2 prayers. He is absolutely worth his cost. He needs to be in the list, so he's there to do the prayers. And because we have significantly less models, it'll also give our -1 to wound a bit more viability, because we'll have him, and of course this general will also have the Ashbeard, so he will also be a priest to help boost himself up, which includes the Volcatrix prayer, which will in turn give, you know, these guys hopefully more attacks if they're wounded, or at the very least make them ignore the battle damage altogether. And of course, the Grimhold Exile, he's essentially in there for any gargants or big monsters. He's there to run into there, activate himself, you know, 4 mortals all over the place. Hopefully he takes some stuff out seriously large, or at least does significant amounts of damage that are really going to help him out. And if push comes to shove and we actually do get him to survive, maybe we can also put the prayer on him to make him fight twice. So that way he can do the more 4 mortals, and then he activates again, and he does his little bonk stick. He is a 5 attacks, 3 threes, minus 2/2, so he could do some serious damage. But is that going to be enough to carry us through games? I don't think so, which is why the last bit is the Saviors of Cinderfall. We have brought them into the list. They are going to be my deep strikers. After kind of reassessing a lot with the list and Fyreslayers, I know that a lot of people, if you're running pure Fyreslayers, you got to run a Rune Smiter, and it's got to run with Hearthguard. That's your deep strike ability. That's your deeper play. But I instead decided to opt for the Saviors of Cinderfall specifically because with all the manifestations, even though we just got the changes out and everything like that, these guys are going to be able to deal with a lot. They're going to give themselves a 5 up board by staying nearby between Callus and Toll and their companions. They're going to do some serious damage to wizards, priests, and invocations. Here's hoping that they really carry a lot of that, and at the very least they can help me get some battle tactics, whether it's, you know, take their land or, you know, take the flanks and they, you know, add the turn after they come in, because you can't just set them up and make it happen. But that's where we're at with the list. Of course, we got the pizza oven, we got the invocations, but again, we're going to give this a try. It's going to be very, very different to what I'm used to running, and it feels light. Every time I look at this army, I feel like I am missing a lot. But, you know, this GT's for charity. I'm going to have fun with it. I want to test this out, see how viable it is. But between 21 D3 damage shots here and then another 8 D3 shots here, if we pick our targets just right, I'm hoping that we can start really piling down some damage and really taking some stuff out. But we're going to find out. So thanks for listening to the GT list review here. Of course, we'll recap this when I get back after this next weekend down in Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. I don't know why I said down. Technically, it's over and down, but close enough. Anyway, let me know what you think down in the comments. Are you a Fyreslayers player? What do you think of the list? Let me know what you think. And basically, we're just going to play and see how we do and see how it feels. And hey, hopefully we'll be able to report some really good news. But until next time, I've been Tattoo Tabletop. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. If you want to find out more about this as it comes out later, I've got some more painting to do. There's more stuff to do. So in the meantime, I've been Tattoo Tabletop. Go paint something.